As most of you know, I love my Vive, love it, and I love my VR games. And you were asking which games I actually play. Now, I'm incredible at headshots, it turns out, so I do play some first-person shooters, but not like a whole ton.
It's called headshots. Wow.
Yeah. I'm incredible at headshots.
I'm incredible at headshots. Like, I have like super accuracy in headshots. It's ridiculous. I'm also a vegetarian, so just like to throw that out there. Not gonna be shooting anything, for real. But then I have like table tennis, and I have a game called Audio Shield, where like the beat of the music is shown in spheres that you punch out of the air. But then I have a meditation VR game that I like, where you can pick anywhere, well, not anywhere in the world, like anywhere conceivable, to go sit and do a guided meditation. Nice. So I meditated in a cave on the moon one day.
No wow.
I've also like come home, sat in my living room, and been just on a beach, and the water just laps up, and yeah, it's good. Dave plays like Arizona Sunshine and Fallout 4.
Dave, how's the beach meditation?
Dave doesn't play the meditation stuff as much. And then we did get the Star Trek game.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. And that brings me to my point, is that I have not yet experienced modern VR.
Right.
Have you experienced it? No.
What do you mean?
We went to VRTO. The show went to VRTO.
Okay.
And we sent Henry.
What do you mean? Okay.
And Henry had a blast.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't get to go.
So what do you mean by modern VR?
Modern VR, like I played Virtual Boy.
That's not real.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a failed yeah. No, my virtual reality experience comes out of things like the early days. So VR, Virtual Boy was the original.
So you're like
Nintendo.
you're ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
So you got to see like the very beginning, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now that it's taken off and become as realistic as it is, that you can sit and meditate on the moon in a cave.
That's right. You're going to be
I've yet to experience that.
Blown away. Like it is incredible. Dogs in Dead Effect 2, like, I don't think they're actually dogs. They're like weird,
alien
rabid,
creatures.
four-legged things. But they just come out at you out of nowhere, and you flinch, and when you crouch, you're crouching behind things.
Oh, yeah? Have you ever come close to, like, taking out your TV?
No, because Dave is careful, and so he
Dave
set
is
up,
like your spotter.
No, he calibrated the system so that you're always like your main view is pointing away from the TV.
Oh, that's smart.
Right?
So when Dave is spectating on the couch,
I've
gets
almost
one in the
hit
face.
him. Yeah, I've almost hit him, and he in turn has almost hit me. He actually once we were playing
in turn, he fights back.
We were playing a longbow game, and he didn't know where I was sitting, but he literally for like 10 minutes was just shooting arrow after arrow at me. I was like, oh,
cool. Have you ever done VR?
Yes, on a few occasions.
What have you done?
I don't think I could name the specific brands and all of that stuff, but I have done the Google Travel All Over the World one.
Yeah, Google
which
Earth.
is very cool.
That's in VR now?
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk down
the
streets. Yeah.
So I had actually, what was kind of interesting though was the person that I did it with as well visited places that we had already been. So it was really interesting because I had just gone to Florence for a week, my first time traveling in Italy, and so I was able to use Google Earth to visit the very places that I was.
So are these like street view images that have been converted into 360?
Not street view. I think like it's very much like a reconstruction.
Okay.
So there's not like people walking around and stuff like that.
Right.
At least I don't remember people, but
it is like the Google Maps. You know when you go into Google Maps and you click that little person icon.
Yeah.
And then you like it's
do that
picture
all the
after
time
picture.
So that I can see
exactly.
So is it like that?
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, I would say it's a little more cartoonish, right? At least the version that I tried. That was maybe last fall.
Okay.
But pretty cool. I had the opportunity to get on another game. Just tried so many different games. I think the coolest one was probably a paint program. It was like a 3D paint program.
Oh, okay. And you're really into creative design and stuff. So.
This was one of the most unique because, of course, it was like boxing games and like shooting games were like terrifying for me. Like zombies coming at me. I'm like, no, like this is not a good time. But I really liked the paint one because it was something that I would never be able to do in real life. Mm-hmm. Like I would be able to do a video game. I might actually, be in a circumstance of war. I don't know why. Hopefully never. But the paint one was really interesting because I was able to like paint things in 3D and then teleport myself to the other side of the room, which was like
so cool.
Like when do you ever get to do that ever, right?
Wow.
Right. It was really amazing. And just being able to like, sparkles.
Was that tilt brush?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was really neat. And then also I was actually able to see an invention of someone at OCAD-U's lab. And
so they had like a VR version so that you could see it?
Well, they had like a VR setup because that was part of this particular researcher's thing. And it was so funny because he said, oh, like, let me just show you something that I made in like a couple hours. It's like, it's not that great. And so we put this thing, I had the VR glasses on and it was blood vessels. Like it was like the flip being inside a blood vessel in a giant room and these huge, like, I don't know what you call them, cells, blood cells, red blood cells and white blood cells. And there were just, it wasn't a lot of them, but they were just circling around and like moving. And I was like, that blew my mind as well because
there's so much potential.
Well, it's just so interesting because he was like, oh yeah, it took a couple hours and it wasn't really that. I don't think he was playing it down or anything. He just basically said, I just made this thing. But I was blown away because that experience is also like, when will you ever see crazy floating cells just going around? Like, it's just so different.
Like, I see stuff like that, and like, I think it would like bring me to tears with the thought that this could be used for like micro surgeries and things like that, to be able to immerse yourself to remove a tumor or something like that, and have robotics control what you're doing on the macro scale.
They use for training purposes. They use VR for people who are doing like helicopter rescues. Right? So that you can kind of get the butterfly feeling out. You know exactly what you're doing.
Like
right?
for training?
For training purposes.
Okay.
That's really good.
They also use it for therapy and phobias.
Nice.
Right?
Now,
so
I have seen...
expose yourself in a safe environment.
In Toronto, there is an amazing setup for vehicle rehabilitation for people who have been through tragedies in a car accident and things like that.
Right.
Where they're immersed in a vehicular scenario that's completely VR. But everything from... But it's a real car. They're sitting in an Audi with a steering wheel and everything else, and the rain is coming down in front of them, but they're surrounded in screens, and it could totally be used for that. Or think about people who can't travel, going back to your Google Earth VR, and so you were there, and then you went there, and hey, this is cool. But imagine if you were bound to a wheelchair or a hospital bed, and you could just put on this headset, and I'm in Venice, or on a date with my wife somewhere halfway around the world.
That's true.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say one of the interesting things about some of the experiences, like I had a chance to get on a rocket and just fly over buildings, and it was pretty cool. But what was interesting was that only certain games for me had like an emotional impact and like stayed in my brain, like locked in my brain, because I really thought flying around on a rocket would be more fun, and it was at first. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, never done this before. But after a while, I don't know, it just kind of wore off. Maybe I was just I'm just kind of flying around on the city, and I go this way and I go that way, and there's buildings this way, here's a tall one, here's a short one, and then maybe being more immersed in like a game, and also having the element of something you absolutely cannot do anywhere else within this known world, right? Like seeing crazy huge objects or all sorts of things.
What has your VR experience been so far, or have you had any experience, or are you like me and you've played Virtual Boy, which was pathetic?
Your
No, come
Virtual
on.
door
boy?
is
No,
always
it was
open,
pathetic.
Robbie.
It
You can
was.
come over.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, but you selflessly gave someone else the opportunity to do what you would have liked to have done. So that's even
There you
better.
go. Oh, that's a great way to spin it.
Yeah.
I allowed Sasha to buy an HTC Vive and then come back and report.
That's a bigger gift.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go further with it. Just
It was a news story that made it happen. Do you remember?
I do. Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime we do a news story about a product, Sasha buys it.
It's true.
It's wonderful.
Or if we do like an unboxing.
Anytime money's tight, I just have to review something really, really cool.
It's true. Like, and yeah, it's unfortunate. I fall in love with little gadgets very easily.
Oh yeah.